2000 and found and experienced a wonderful healing atmosphere. Like many who come to a spiritualist church, Reverend Rosie discovered her true treasure, her spiritual path. It is the foundation for serving humanity. She took many classes at the first spiritualist church that they offered and was ordained a minister on December 11th, 2005. Reverend Rosie Overlees is a Reiki master and currently the assistant pastor here at First Christian Spiritualist Church. Reverend Rosie believes that we have all come to the earth plane to learn, live, and express the spiritual life while we are on earth, clothed in a physical body. Let's all welcome warmly, please.
Thank you for that beautiful talk. When I first came, she was one of the reasons I had to stay because, that feeling of we finally found a little place to blossom. But a lot of the reasons I stayed because she was so friendly, warm, and I tried to sneak around her because she was so busy, and she says, "Is that Rosie trying to sneak?" I never forgot that. I was. Anyhow, see, look where it leads. We're back together again. That's really nice. We're all together. That's nice. Nice little family here too. So, wow, there's some things in here I kind of threw myself off. Tomorrow is the first day of spring, so it's the equal day and equal night, so we're going to get more light. So spiritually, there's light coming in. So, if you're in a learning journey, it's just be patient. It's just coming in to help you, and it's going to increase. It's going to be easier, but you still have to put the work in. So, I'm going to read from Isaiah. I have it here. Here it is. This is from Isaiah chapter 26, verses 3 through 4. And he will keep you in perfect peace, all those who trust in him, whose thoughts are turned often to the Lord. Trust in the Lord God always, for the Lord Jehovah is your everlasting strength. The most important sentence here is to trust in him, whose thoughts turn often to God. I was just sitting there daydreaming about what I was going to speak on, and the thought just came to me, when you go to a celebration of life, the guests get up there and they talk about the person, and they have, good memories and good points of the person, and then some confess in a polite way of not always having a good rapport, or, not in good terms, but can etch out some good words. And we realize at that moment in time, there will not be another chance to say or do anything nice for them. The finality of the individual that will not be on the earth's journey, and not another chance to see them. When we celebrate a life remembrance, we step aside from our petty thoughts, and we think of the thoughts of kind words, and we set aside the odd behaviors. But why wait for the celebration of life to look for the good in people? Not be quick to accent their personality liabilities, in other words, their faults. And sometimes we jump to conclusions. But to be a aware of the possibilities of the potential good hidden behind the facade. To take time to seek their light while they're still here on the physical clothing through their earth journey. And you might discover a result of a better relationship, a birthing of a long friendship, or a more cooperative co-worker. But when you seek to discover their positive attributes, you are making more of an effort to change your thoughts, your thought process from dwelling on their shortcomings to seeking and finding their better side. It takes more effort and it can be difficult at first, easier when you commit until it becomes a habit. Everyone ponders the good of a person at the celebration of life, but why not practice it and produce it in daily living, in daily encounters? What is required is a constant awareness and need of spirit and God in our daily life. That's why that little verse I read was very short, because are you listening to God? Are you giving him your attention? We all have free will, and putting God's Spirit first is rewarding, and it actually is our treasure. When you magnify God, you magnify light. You magnify the light in that person. Now you think it's not happening, but it does. You just don't see it. You know, I can't explain it. I can only tell you. But all you can do is try it, and then, like a scientific, what is it when they scientific experiment? Yeah. If you keep track, the next time you see them, or the next couple of times you see them, you'll see little changes. You know, but it's up to you. But you have to just look for that. But sometimes they irritate you that you just don't want to bother. My girlfriend, she is going through something, and we're older, and I just kind of just let go of the little things that bothered me about her, And some of that stuff reflects you. I just don't want to hear that. But it's true. But it's in a different way. But I I can't change her. But something, why dwell on that? She's doing okay, but it was a blessing. But I have to see it eventually. Sometimes we don't see it, so don't be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. But you magnify the light in that person, and eventually you trust in God. Your trust in God is unshakable. When you value the good in people, soon it becomes easier and a way of life for them. And when you have difficulties with new encounters who cross your path, it's like another chance, another opportunity to expand, letting the experience for letting God express through you. When you decide to be a little patient and not get your ruffled feathers, you're allowing God to work through you in that moment, because you're giving up your will to react like you would like to. But there's a better way, and there's a healing in the process for them and for you. Your life changes because you trust, and you live and believe in God's faithfulness. Your mind and your thoughts and your will be relying on the presence of God, and that you can ask for insight, solutions in any situation or in people. Asking for peace and patience and calmness. Your free will, or my free will, wants it to resolve soon. And but better yet, you want it now. In a way that I think is good. In a way that will benefit me and other people. And And I finally figure why, because, what goes out my way, I won't suffer so much. So it's always in God's timing. Some things you think, God, will this ever end? And that's your time to put your feet on the ground and just know that God's in charge, even when you don't believe it. Because sometimes we don't, because there's so much things going on, you just think, it's not going to work for me, but you got to be faithful and you got to believe, even if it's a little bit of a mustard seed, because that's what we said, it's just a little seed, not a big root. It's a simple little belief. But that's true, because when we get worried about something, we want it to be over quickly, and that's our free will. We want it now, because we don't want to go through the learning process of when you finally give it up to God and you feel the peace. You just kind of like, why did I carry this worry and burden? We have to understand to accept what is on our spiritual plate is in His hands, His will, and His timing. For me to learn clearly His voice and to make God first. Talking to a friend about, make God first and talking to him, it brought back to me, because I was talking with a friend when I took a trip to the Middle East. I'm going to make it short and quick. My dad got sick the night before I was to leave, and it just threw me all off, and it just was a basket case. But it worked out, and when I went on the trip, because I was a day late, so I didn't go with the tour. I had to go from San Diego to LA to Boston to Paris to Tel Aviv, and take a cab to Israel. And I want to tell you, I walked with God. And it was before I started coming to the First Spiritualist Church, because I had no choice. I was not going to let this trip go, and I was scared, but I thought, I can't let it go, I got to go. But I didn't realize that's really what we're supposed to be doing. Everything is, even when I went to the potty, what I ate, it just was, and the people I met it was a wonderful trip. But when I came home, I kept up the good habit, but you get into the world and you stray away and you forget it. But it wasn't until I was talking with this friend about the trip how I came back. And it really, because I was kind of concerned about certain things. So I thought, that's what I have to do. I have to kind of, practice the presence of God. And so I, a couple of days go by, and I'm putting on it was like a new bed jacket that, it was clean because I had washed it. And when I stuck my hand in the pocket, there was a little pamphlet, and it said, practice the presence of God. Practice the presence of God. And then I went back to the trip again, what I learned. But I got away from it. So we all do that. So don't be so hard on yourself when, you don't being where you want to be yet, because you just have to learn to be patient with yourself and God's timing. And there are synchronicities in your life too that help you. Telling you that God is present. And synchronicities is verifying you're in the right path and you're going to the right direction and you're making right decisions and right choices. When you commit to your spiritual path and you do not stray from it, you will achieve a certain amount of peace of mind. But once you can make that connection with the source, you will trust that faithfulness. And synchronicities are part of that. And synchronicities are incidents of spiritual significance, asking us to dampen our obsession and recognize the presence of God in that moment of synchronicity. Some of you have experienced it, and some of you don't. haven't realized it yet, you know? And so to me, finding that small tablet in my bed jacket, practice the present, is synchronicity. It's reminding you. When I was in the doctor's office and I read an article on trust, and it really hit me, really. And I thought, this is, you know, I can talk about this Sunday. And my bank, my checking account, when I got a balance, it was my birthday. It was my birthday, you know, numbers. When I went to the other doctor, we had trouble with the referrals, and when they gave me the fax number to make sure that it was correct, it had my exact birthday. It had the full year, you know, not 50. How old? But so then I didn't get upset. I was calm. I said, no, this is telling me there are error here, but it'll be okay. So, you know, that's, these little things help you. Seeing your birth date or seeing 333, you look at the clock, it's 10 after 10. It's 11:11. It's your birthday. You know, just these little things. Car plates have little messages on it, you know. So, with me, sometimes my dad was a truck driver, and so I'll be thinking at a red light, and I think, yeah, I think that'll work out, and this big rig will come driving by. That's synchronicity. So little things like that. It's just using your imagination to get close to God. And in a way, it's kind of fun because it's like having Tinkerbell sprinkle those beautiful little nuggets on you, you know? Keep your eye on the presence of God, and you will see no fault in your fellow man. I don't know where I read that, but I remember that. And the more, as I was coming to the first spiritualist church, that's true. You do little by little, it diminishes. That's why it's so important to look for the good in people right now. We especially need that. And today's times, with all the chaos and the news and all the whirlwind of troubles and problems and disasters, right now the financial world and foreign concerns, the government and political division, we have to keep our thoughts high. We can watch the news, but don't let it interfere with your protective bubble. There's only one source and one power, and you hold that in your thoughts and your minds and your hearts, and the proof will come to you. You have to see God's presence in all the people and not in their shortcomings. I'm going to kind of close my lecture. I was a little bit concerned because I didn't kind of practice. I mean, I practiced, but and I just, because of all this is all kind of going the last couple of weeks, month, and it's kind of like I feel braver to walk a little on water. I did have to read a little bit, but on March the 7th, the Saturn went into Pisces, and the Saturn is a kind of a teacher, and and it's in Pisces, so Pisces is, our spiritual teacher too, sign. And so what you take here today, if you want to go on and practice it, wonderful. And if you don't, like me, after I just went to that trip in 1984. Look at all the time that it came back again and again. So if you don't practice it, you will sooner down the road. But know that right now we have a lot of light coming in. And it's going to be for greater awareness and power of thought and feelings and create your reality. And so just when you see the news, kind of see it with a light heart. Let it get to your heart. And just keep your thoughts high. It's very simple. And it's hard, but since you're here today, you know, maybe I've drummed it in enough that you probably. So, but I wish you all well, and thank you for coming, and thank you.